Hi, I'm Alan Gardner. I'm going to demonstrate resistance soldering to you today. I'm going to use a American Beauty 250 watt model power supply for this. You can buy them new from Micromart. They're not cheap, but Micromart does have great sales during the summertime, so that's a great time to get one. Or you can pick one up off of eBay. It doesn't have to be American Beauty, and any brand I've had good luck with. I use mine at about 68% of power for HO. N and Z you want to use a lot less. Might get by with 150 watts for HO. For S and O use higher power, and for G definitely use all 250 watts. The idea is to get the solder joint hot, quick, fast, get done, get out before you start melting a lot of ties and heating up a lot of track. Here's the other neat thing about resistance soldering. These tweezers, they use stainless steel tips. That's what actually heats up and produces the heat. You squeeze the wire and the rail between the tweezers. You step on the foot switch, the light comes on, the tip will get hot. With the liquid flux, so I'll show you in a second, that happens in a couple of seconds. Then you take your foot off the switch, give it time to cool, about 10 seconds, and then release the work. And the great thing about the tweezers is you get to hold your work, your wire and your feeders, until the solder is cooled. If you tried to do that with a regular soldering iron, you end up soldering your soldering gun to the track, and it won't come off. But stainless steel does not solder, and so it will release from the solder. Okay, another thing to get done quickly is this liquid flux. Actually, it's called gel. They do make a liquid and a gel. As you see me swirl it around, it's pretty thin. Gel's not really a good name for it, but it's a little thicker, about density of cheap maple syrup, than the liquid flux. Both available from H&N Electronics. Because I like the gel, because you can take this toothpick, you can dip it into the gel and get one drop on the end. If you use the liquid version, it's too thin and won't produce a drop. Also notice that I've color coded one end of the toothpick. That's the end I want to hold on to, so I don't keep sticking my fingers into the flux and getting it all over my hands. Again, to go fast, I use 0.31 diameter solder. And you can buy also 0.62, but I find that's too big for HO. 0.31, this is solid core solder. It has no flux in it. Do not use rosin core flux. It defeats the purpose of using the liquid flux and will take longer, and that's not what you want to do. Also, to hold the wire to the track, I use the forceps, lock it into place. You don't have to use this if the wire laid cleanly against the rail. You don't need to use it. Yeah, and normally you would call this a heat sink, and you probably wouldn't want to use it. But again, with the resistance soldering station, it heats up so quickly, your solder joint occurs before you've appreciably heated the forceps, so you can get out quickly. Okay, I also use what I call the lightsaber. This is a battery-powered Dremel. It's a great tool. I use a carbon steel brush in the tip, and I use that for cleaning the track. If you have weathered track, you want to burnish off the weathering before you try to solder to it. And I use this for getting the residue off the top of the track if I have any. It's also great for cleaning the tips of the resistance soldering iron. Okay, so that's the intro to the tools. Now I'll demonstrate how to actually make a solder connection. Put the wire through the bench work, and I'm going to bend it in a little L shape. You can do that any way you prefer. Also, I have to clean the weathering off this track. Okay, now we'll bend the wire. Sorry, it's a little hard to see. I couldn't get the camera where I wanted it to be. Okay, you see the little L shape bent up against the rail. This time it laid against the rail very nicely. I'm still going to use the forceps for the purpose of this demonstration, so you can see that the forceps will not draw the heat away from the soldering tip due to the rapid speed of the soldering operation. I'm also going to apply some flux. I take a drop of the liquid gel flux, put it up against the rail, get it, only one drop, and the toothpick works fine. Okay, I'm going to squeeze the wire with the tweezers. I'm going to use 031 solder. Then you're going to step on the pedal and solder the wire for about 5 seconds. Take your foot off the pedal, allow it to cool for about 10 seconds, then release the tweezers. So here we go, we start the operation. You can see the spark, a little bit of smoke, and you'll hear a sizzle. I'm going to say about 5 seconds. Take the solder, remove your foot from the switch, give it about 10 seconds to cool. Release the tweezers. Remove your forceps. Wipe down the track with a little damp sponge to remove the flux, and also clean the residue off the railhead with the Dremel. To remove the excess flux, if any. I don't find it to be a big problem. That's it. Thank you.